What's going on, guys? It's Phoenix, back for another video. Just feels super weird to say that, just given the content of this video. This is mainly just for me to process some stuff about a celebrity death, well, you can see down there who, that happened earlier today. So that's why there's just going to be no comment section down there. Yeah. So, in case you live under a rock, Chester Bennington of Lincoln Park committed suicide this morning. I got the little news alert from, I think it was BBC or CNN, on my phone when I was at work. And I'm honestly about as gutted as I was when Prince, David Bowie, and Chris Cornell died. Chris Cornell dying very recently. It sucks, man. Especially for, like, somebody in my generation. I'm 28. I'll be 29 in 10 whole months. But I'm literally looking at the discography for Linkin Park on Wikipedia. And Linkin Park was one of those bands that they really defined my, like, early adolescence, my early teen years, and while I kind of fell off of keeping active track of them and really, like, actively listening to their stuff, after, I think it was after Minutes to Midnight, which came out right around the first Transformers movie, I still appreciated them as a band, still like most of their stuff that they put out, and whenever their singles came on the radio, would totally listen to them, unless there was one that I wasn't particularly a fan of. They had a lot of really good songs, and you can say what you will about their music, about it being like too industrial screamo with Meteora and Hybrid Theory, it being too emo and whatever with other albums, it being just kind of meh overall. Honestly, their music to me was consistently good, and they weren't afraid to change up their sound and adapt. And the lyrics, I will fully admit, weren't always the best. Some of their songs, I'm like, really? Like, those are the words? But when their lyrics were really good, they were really good. And Mike Shinoda and Chester Bennington did a lot of the lyric writing for Linkin Park. And, I mean, it just sucks that Chester Bennington's no longer around. It really honestly does. He did commit suicide. He ended up hanging himself. And I should have said this at the top of the video, but if you're seeing this video and you struggle with depression, you are dealing with suicidal ideation, you've like planned out what you're going to do, you've been having suicidal thoughts, whatever, or you have like an intent, or just anything on that range of you're going to act on it, you have a plan, you have an idea, whatever. If you're dealing with depression, please seek out help and please talk to somebody about it. I work in mental health. I cannot tell you how many times I have actively tried to help people struggling with depression, and to be honest, I've dealt with a little bit of mild depression myself over my 28 years on this mortal coil, and I suffer from generalized anxiety disorder. I deal with it on a regular basis. That sounded kind of nonchalant and kind of off the cuff, and just kind of, I deal with it, but hopefully you get my point. But please, if you're seeing this and you are dealing with depression, please reach out to somebody and talk to somebody. If you're thinking about killing yourself, in the U.S. there's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, which I will throw the link to below. I'll throw the number. Man, and there's a whole bunch of things. And you've got a whole bunch of websites now, most of which are completely anonymous. There's 7 Cups of Tea, where you can just talk online with somebody about whatever's on your mind. And there's a whole bunch of other resources. And I really urge you, if you're struggling with depression, to reach out and talk to somebody and find that help. Because it's far better than the alternative. Suicide, and I know that it's preached so much, but it really is a permanent solution to a problem that you can work through, and a problem that you can learn to minimize and adapt to be able to handle for the rest of your life. Specifically going back to Linkin Park, though, I mean, again, I'm staring at their discography, and Hybrid Theory, their debut album, Crawling and all those other songs, came out when I was in 6th grade, 2000, fall of 2000. Yeah, that's when I was in 6th grade, whatever that equates to in other parts of the world. Yeah. And then Meteora came out in 8th grade for me, and I think it was shortly after Meteora, if not before, their like reimagining album, Reanimator came out. And I actually honestly really liked Reanimator, whatever it was called. It was a weird fusion of like rock, hip hop, and other genres, and some of the songs didn't quite hit, but most of them I really liked. Granted, that could have just been my music taste at the time, because I was a complete freaking dork, more so than I am now. But I don't know. Something about that album I really liked, and it definitely made me more aware of, at least for like the rest of that year, some of the artists that were guest starring on the reimagined album. But I mean, Hybrid Theory, Meteora. You talk about two albums that I wish that I still had in my collection. Most of my music's on my phone now. Those two right there. I mean, they don't hold up the best now. 14 and what was that? 14 and 17 years out, respectively, for Meteora and Hybrid Theory going in reverse. But when their songs come on the radio, still totally listen to them. And just with the remaining albums, Menace to Midnight, Thousand Suns, Living Things, kind of The Haunting Party, and then their most recent one, One More Light. Again, just like there's very specific songs from those albums that I've really liked over the years, and Linkin Park again just had such a huge impact on me as an adolescent. They were like one of the first few rock bands that I got into. I mean, they were honestly right up there in the early 2000s for me, the early aughts, with Alien Ant Farm, completely throwing myself under the bus here, and yes, I will admit it, Nickelback. So, I don't know, I'm always going to have a soft spot for Linkin Park's music, and because of that, it just completely sucks, and it's completely tragic that Chester Bennington is no longer with us. He leaves behind his current wife, his ex-wife, and 6 children. And I want to send my condolences and my best to them, to anybody else in Chester Bennington's family, to the entire rest of Linkin Park, to anybody that knew Chester. And it sucks, man. It really does. So, Chester, never met you, just loved your music. Rest in peace, dude. Hope you found the happiness that you never really could find here on Earth. And, yeah, just rest in peace, dude. And, again, if any of you who see this video, be it wherever, internet, are dealing with thoughts of depression, thoughts of suicide, or diagnosed with depression, and it's a complete struggle for you, I urge you to reach out, again, to the National Hotline, 7 Cups of Tea. I'll put as many resources as I can in the description box down below. It's always helpful to at least try to reach out and talk to somebody. So, yeah. Anyhow, thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you around.